is the winter, right, in Utah. Intermountain Healthcare pulmonologist Denitsa Blagev, a specialist at Intermountain Medical Center and also part of Intermountain Healthcare, is here to talk about the importance of knowing the air quality, when to go outside, when to stay in. Let's talk about the concerns of inversion and how that affects your lungs.
So there are multiple health outcomes that are really affected by air pollution. Some of the ones we really think about are problems with lungs. So things like if you have asthma, that can flare your asthma or COPD. And getting exposed to air pollution can really predispose you to developing lung problems like asthma and COPD.
And when we're talking about a really bad inversion day, it affects all of us. I mean, in particular to those people who suffer from those underlying conditions, but it affects every one of us.
Exactly. So I think that's the key thing for us to all keep in mind is even if you're a person who's not very young, who's not elderly, someone who doesn't have any medical conditions, being out in that bad air quality and breathing it increases your risk of developing medical conditions and of death.
And we have to remember it's all cumulative, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So also exhaust. And during this time of year, it's really hard to tell people not to idle because you're cold, you're warming up your car. But how do you tell people and have them get the message, don't idle?
I mean, idling, so when we talk about air quality, it's a big problem, right? And some of the solutions that we're talking about are really big things that we have to work together to fix, but idling seems like one of those that you as an individual could do. And just to give you an idea about idling, there's studies out of Seattle where if you're just sitting in traffic for a couple of hours, that's extra air pollution exposure in your car. So idling is bad everywhere. And
people in their driveways, their garages, I see it sometimes 15, 20 minutes, and it kills me when I see that, you know, and they're warming up their cars and their windshields and whatnot, and it's just the worst you can do for our air quality we breathe.
Exactly. And I see it, you know, like you drive by the schools and people are idling, waiting for their kids to come out, and you're creating all this air pollution right at the school where all the kids are getting exposed.
Something like it doubles the bad inversion each day this comes up. So how do you know when to avoid these bad days? How do we know it is a bad day?
So I think sometimes we think, oh, we can look at and see it, which is unfortunately
you
true.
You can't smell it either.
Yeah, but I think the most precise way is really to look up. So UtahAirNow.gov will have readings. They are scientific instruments that really accurately reflect. Sometimes when we look out and it looks bad, it can be because of kind of the bigger particulates, but it's really those PM 2.5s that we worry about, and then more in the summertime we worry about the ozone.
This is a question I asked you. So when it is a bad air day, is it okay to exercise, say 5, 6 a.m. in the morning? I mean, there are peak times when you should avoid, but you're saying?
There are peak times that you should avoid. So if you look at the readings, they go up and down during the day. In the morning when it's cold, all of that air pollution is concentrated in a pretty tight layer.
So still bad.
And then when it warms up, it gets more diluted. So if you actually look across the mountains, you can see narrow layer of pollution, and then as the day warms up, you'll see it spread and dilute more, so it's not great.
And you're telling me it's just a balance. You have to weigh how much are you affected, but how much benefit are you getting from exercise. But obviously, if you're going to exercise in the mornings, are best.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. So I think one of the things we were using is the analogy of if somebody is allergic to cats and they choose to have their cats with them, they have more symptoms than if they got rid of the cats. And so I think for people that are really young, that are older, that have health problems, it's clear you should not be exercising outdoors. If you had the choice of outdoor exercise versus indoor exercise, I would pick inside. If you ask me, should I exercise every day or not, I think then you can weigh the benefit of exercise. But on a red air day, I would not exercise.
Dr. Denitsa Blagev with Intermountain Healthcare joining us now with some important information.